Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, it doesn't matter wherever you are in the world because this is the GML and whatever time of day, morning, afternoon, night or whatever you're watching it at, it's still going to be exactly the same because we're in round 3 now, set 3 between Chris and Ming, aka Good Boy, and this is going to be quite a good one, I am sure. I say this every time, but I'm optimistic. I like the optimism. And this first map chosen by Ming is Arena. They are playing as Mayans, both of them. Chris in green off to the left, to the right of him, Ming in red, playing as Mayans as well. And we have got a Mayan war on Arena with something which we've already seen before. Between Viper and Age was the oh no, sorry, that was Regicide Fortress, my bad, but it's similar Arena, similar to Regicide Fortress, I guess, apart from the fact you start with less villagers and you're not after the king, but rarely are they really after the king anyway, because ultimately the GG is decided before the king ever gets killed. So yeah, we'll see how this one goes. Sure, we'll see plumed archers out of both of them. There's no real reason not to. The real powerhouse of the Mayans is the plumed archers. And some of you were saying, well, what is the counter to plumed archers? Of course, if you know your opponent's going to make plumed archers, why not just mass skirmishers? And you're right, you could do that, but it's not always the best idea because, first of all, skirmishers are a defensive unit. You can't push out from your base with skirmishers. They get cut down by castles pretty easily. A few Eagle Warriors would kill them very easily as well. They also have very low attack, so anything against using skirmishers to attack anything but archers really isn't such a good idea. You may see that one knight can kill about 20 skirmishers no problem whatsoever, and it's really hard to actually attack with skirmishers. So plumed archers, they can be used in defense, but they can be used in offense as well, and that makes them a lot more versatile. They're a lot faster to use, and really speed is very important. Not only that, but they can also be microed effectively as well against skirmishers, especially if they don't have the ballistics upgrade. So really, plumed archers are the way to go, but if you are having to play defensively, if you're forced into a defensive position, then there is no harm in adding skirmishers. We did see Age do that yesterday, unfortunately for him, a little bit too late. So it's not the end of the world. Also as well, you say Eagle Warriors, well, they have a lot of pierce armor, but the problem is you can tech to plumed archers much faster than you can tech to Eagle Warriors. Eagle Warriors, when fully upgraded, they require a lot of upgrades. You need the Eagle Warrior upgrade, which is certainly not cheap, and they cost 50 gold each, which in a 1v1 is quite a lot of gold to be paying up for one unit at a time, whereas plumed archers are much cheaper and, as I've said many times before, much easier to mass as well. So it really is no surprise then that players decide to go for plumed archers when you consider all of the variables in there. Another thing as well is if you do go for plumed archers and then decide later on you need some skirmishers, the upgrades for the plumed archers will also apply to the skirmishers, and hey presto, you've kind of got yourself an upgraded army already. So really, it's the way to go. And let's have a quick look at the map here while things are getting underway. We're probably not going to see much action until the Castle Age, but one thing I do notice is Chris's map. My god, how much gold has he got back here? He has 3 gold piles in his base, 1 large, 3 small, and that is a huge amount of gold to have in one's base. If we look at Ming, well, 1 gold large and 1 small gold on the side, which is very unfortunate for Ming indeed. And I think he just lost his boar a little there. I don't think he lost a villager, but he lost the lure somehow. I missed that, unfortunately. But yeah, there's also a gold over here, but really, if Chris gains control of this middle area, Ming is going to be in a really tough spot because he is going to really struggle here to actually get gold. It's going to be a real nightmare for him. So Ming is going to have to get the relics, and if he scouts the center area, he'll notice that there really isn't that much gold around. He'll notice he's not got 2 gold piles inside of his walls, and that is really unfortunate for him. So he's going to want to collect these relics up as fast as he can. There's quite a few in the center area, as we can see here, and they are, fortunately for Ming, a lot closer to him than Chris. So Chris got a very good map here, even though his main gold is quite close to this wood. It's no real big deal. He's got a lot of gold at the back. He's also got plenty of stone, which is very important for Mayan players. Ming, on the other hand, with only just 1 stone pile in his base, and yeah, I've got to say Ming's map not the best. Oh no, he does have 2, but this one Oh no, that's safe there, it's safe. So he has got 2, which is absolutely fine for him. Starting to take stone nice and early, he could be looking to go for a very fast castle drop onto Chris, and he might decide to do that because he needs to gain control of the centre area. We'll see how that goes for him, and I'm going to speed things up through to the Feudal Age, which Chris is already advancing up to. You could see quite a fast castle from him, though Ming going up on an extra villager could mean that Ming ends up slightly further ahead. We'll have to see how that one goes. Chris too starting to gain some stone now. 4 villagers for each of them onto stone. They are pretty much looking to do the fast castle and then ram up a castle straight away. Whether or not they play it defensively or offensively is totally up to them, I guess. We'll have to wait and see, but I've got a feeling that Ming is going to want to play offensively here, judging by his map. He's got the relics on his side, he's just not got the gold, which is something he's going to have to secure in the centre area for sure. Chris up to the Castle Age in 13 minutes, no less, and wow, Ming slightly further behind here, so Chris gonna be up to the Castle Age in a nice time, and if he can get this castle up quickly, he could be really starting to pile the pressure on. A ram, a couple of mangonels, and then a few plumed archers could really break through the walls of Ming and do a hell of a lot of damage very quickly. There's castle from Chris in 15.5 minutes, slightly further behind for Ming, but it's no big deal. Ming can afford his castle already, so can Chris now though. He's got the gold, the stone he needs, and he's placing his castle defensively. Ming moving on out with 5, 6 villagers. I can't count. That's 6 villagers. And he is going to be playing this offensively. As I just said, he is going to want to gain control of this centre area. We may see a monastery from either of them pretty quickly as well. And if we don't see a monastery in a reasonable time, I'll be kind of concerned. Ming is going to want to get those relics, and that's going to be really important for him. But yeah, Ming going to go forwards with his castle here. And I should always put a little bit of a disclaimer on arena games. I'm not much of an arena fan, to be honest with you. I don't really watch that many arena games, so to be perfectly honest, I'm not 100% clued up on it. But as I've said, Ming going forwards now with this castle, he could break through the walls of Chris reasonably quickly, and really there is no best spot to put a castle for Ming because all of Chris's golds are at the back, so he's not really pressuring anything. Perhaps the best spot may be here, but really it's no big deal. Ming gonna go take it at the front, and he could do a quick wall bust here. We're not seeing we are seeing a second town centre from him. We'll probably see a town centre from Chris as well soon, but neither of these guys likely to go for the sort of all-in 1TC mega push strategy that we see from a lot of arena players. But it looks like Ming gonna definitely go for plumed archers, plenty of wood, quite a bit of gold as well. Chris the same, quite a bit of gold for him. Needs a little bit more wood though, might decide to move these guys to wood. What's he gonna do? Sending them back to stone? No, he's not. He's gonna go take the berries there. Interesting. I thought maybe a little bit more wood needed for him to get his second town centre up, and of course get some plumed archers out. At the moment though, not creating anything, as Ming's castle just gone up at the edge. Is Ming going to start pumping out some plumed archers? Yes, he is. Really, really nice aggression from him. Siege workshop going down, going to be through those walls in a reasonable time. That might force Krish to deviate from his strategy here. He's still not making any plumed archers whatsoever. Looking at his food and gold here, looking at how much he's actually collecting, he could be going for a fast Imperial, which would be pretty interesting. I mean, if he gets Imperial pretty quickly, takes out this castle, that could work out great. But Ming now, if he gets his siege workshop up, does a bit of a ram rush, he could take the castle down in time. Gonna be pretty risky for Ming either way, because if he does get caught out and gets beat to the Imperial Age, he could lose his castle here and then consequently lose the centre area, which would be pretty bad for him. Still no monasteries from either of them, which is kind of intriguing to me. I thought perhaps we'd see some monastery, a monastery at least, to collect these relics up, especially for Ming. He's going to be able to secure them very easily now he's got this centre area, but he's not doing that. He is, however, making more plumed archers, and no ram or anything from him just yet. I think we'll see a ram or a mangonel. Not sure why a mangonel. A mangonel is not going to be so effective against the castle, but then again, he doesn't know that the castle's here, so we'll have to wait and see for that one. Chris starting to wall up inside of his base, creating a second sort of proxy wall with houses, blacksmiths and all that good stuff. And it just looked to me like Chris is going to go for a fast Imperial. Look at this. He is 120 food away from getting Imperial Age right now. And a fast Imperial is definitely on the cards. There it is. So we could see a trebuchet coming out pretty soon. And that could cost Ming the center area. But in he comes with his plumed archers. He's about to spot this castle and realize, oh, bad idea. Gonna have to get some rams in. And if he can ram that castle down, then he's going to be okay. But Chris, for the time being, is still going to be just fine. He's walled himself in with houses here, and he's got his castle protecting his eco. So really nice little wall in by Chris there, and he's really sort of slowed Ming down. Ming going to need to get some rams out and ram this castle down. Of course, that's going to be harder, easier said than done actually, because this town centre in range, he can easily bring villagers over to attack the rams, and Ming now finding himself in a bit of a tough spot. He knows that something's up, he knows that Chris has no army, and now he knows that Chris is going to be fast Imperial, and Ming is going to have to really quickly work on his economy, starting instantly to seed more farms. As you can see, he needs to get up to the Imperial Age pretty quickly now, and he cannot afford to lose this center area, as that's going to really put him under a lot of pressure, and that is something he really does not want. Still only on 2 town centers, Chris on the 1, so we're seeing a 1 town center sort of power play from Chris, fast Imperial from him, and he is going to be busting out of those walls very shortly. I imagine perhaps adding in some more TCs eventually, but still no villagers gathering gold stone just yet, and a nice strategy from Chris indeed, making sure he's safe, losing 1 villager there, but it really isn't such a big deal when you're on the way up to the Imperial Age and you'll be taking down this castle very shortly indeed. I'm going to speed things up a little bit because I've got a feeling this is going to be quite a long game, though Ming could be on the demise very quickly at this rate, and Imperial Age for Chris in just a sec. There we go, Imperial for him, moving out with villagers now, and still no TC, starting to gather a little bit more stone. He might add another town centre on and work on his economy shortly. But now he has got this trebuchet coming out, and this castle is in peril to say the least. There is absolutely nothing Ming can do to prevent that castle from going down without losing his army or his mangonel, and that is something that he definitely does not want to happen. So Ming now going to have to get up to the Imperial Age pretty quickly. Read it quite nicely though. He did realise what was up, getting up to 800 gold and 1,000 food. Very, very close indeed. He's going to be up to Imperial in just a sec, but it is slightly too late. Chris with a nice little strategy there. The trebuchet coming out right now, and this castle may just go down for Ming. The only thing is now though, that for Ming, he has got a little bit of a nice thing, because he does have this 2 town centres here. He can add another TC on very quickly if he wants to, though the likelihood is he's going to go for another castle. He knows this castle is going to be lost, so he's going to have to put a castle in defence here, maybe on this gold, maybe just on the side. He's going to have to do that pretty quickly, as he cannot afford to lose production of plumed archers, especially if Chris is going to be coming in with rams and plumes of his own. So Chris, nice play from him, starting to work back on the plumed archers right now. 2 trebuchets will be enough for the time being, and of course he can add rams in there at any time. For the time being though, he might be looking to get another castle up. He may play it forwards and actually really pressure this. If the castle goes up here, Ming is going to be so monumentally screwed. There are going to be absolutely nothing. There's going to be absolutely nothing he can do to gather gold then, unless he comes down this side, which again Chris can pressure quite easily. One thing to note though, Ming going for barracks here. He's not spent too much money into teching these plumed archers. He's got bodkin arrows, so he can kind of defend the center area a little bit. He's still got less upgrades than Chris though. Chris on bracer and padded archer armor, so Ming up against a tough fight here. He needs to use this mangonel to good effect. Can he do it? Can he get the shot? Yes he can. Very nicely done by Ming there. That is going to slow Chris down slightly, but of course Ming doesn't have a castle right now, and he has got a 3rd TC, but he doesn't have a castle, and that is a big problem for him. Losing that castle, its population blocked him, and it also means that Ming is going to be hard pressed to hold Chris back. Chris really needs to start pushing out now and starting to do some big damage, taking out the mangonel with his trebuchets. Nice little play by him, and out comes more plumed archers. He could clean this up if he wants to. He has got the upgrades advantage, he's got the numbers advantage, and Ming forced packing back to his base, making an archery range here That's probably so he can upgrade Thumb Ring a little later on. I did just notice this gold here. I actually didn't see that, and Ming could have put a TC on this and kept that a bit safe, but I didn't actually notice that gold until now. But Ming up to the Imperial Age, Elite Skirmisher being researched, and as I said at the start of this game, Elite Skirmishers are on the cards if you're going to have to play defensive, and there is no doubt Ming is going to have to play this defensive, so Elite Skirmisher being upgraded for him. We'll probably see a few more of those out on the field. But Chris now, still only on the one town centre, really going for some high pressure play here. And he may have enough for another castle. I believe he has got enough for another castle. He did have enough because he had a lot of stone. Whether he sold that or something, I'm not sure. But still enough coming up to really pressure Ming. If he can just get a couple of rams out, he's going to be sorted. But then again, he's got his trebs as well. There's the second castle going up right there. I'm surprised he didn't play this aggressively. If Chris was to put the castle here, as I said, could really pressure this, and that would be a nightmare. Ming trying to ram these plumed archers into submission. Eventually, the ram's going to die. He may even get a plumed archer, which would be something, but I can't see that happening. There's the battering ram gone down, and now he's seeing archery ranges from Ming. He's going to have to play this defensively. Out come the Elite Skirmishers, 5+3 range, which is more range than the plumed archers, so Elite Skirmishers are very effective indeed, with 6 attack and 5 pierce armor. If he gets the next upgrade on the armor, then he's going to be really in a good spot. Where's his university? He's not got one just yet, and he's going to need to get chemistry eventually. Chris still without university as well, so it's not all bad for him. And as I said, Ming gonna have to play very defensively now, as Chris is starting to put on the pressure with these trebuchets. Ming perhaps would have paid off a little bit to build the archery ranges back, because they're going to be under fire from these trebuchets now, and that is not something you want to be losing. Disrupting his economy, taking out his mining camp there, and Ming now going to be really struggling for gold. I think he's got plenty in the bank for the time being, but when it comes to running out, and when he starts running out of gold, he's going to be pretty hard pressed. And as I said, now starting to lose his archery ranges to these trebs, and Chris going to be breaking through those walls in just a moment. He isn't adding in rams just yet, though, I don't think, and that is kind of interesting. If we watch the Viper style play of Mayans, he's very quick to add rams, and that really does help him out in these in the archer fights. If Chris was to have rams in here, he could absorb a lot of the fire from the Elite Skirmishers and end up winning because of that. Not only that, but he can also take out buildings and such with them as well. But now Ming, under a hell of a lot of pressure, losing his economic buildings and having to go up against plumed archers here. I think Chris is going to be elite plumed archer fairly shortly, though not just yet. That will be in the works, I'm sure. These skirmishers going to be so vital to Ming here. He's going to have to use them really well to defend against this. Of course, now though, Chris very close in upgrades. Ming just one archer armor lacking, and Chris going to be forced away. But I mean, if it wasn't for those skirmishers, Chris would have been straight in there, and he would have been through, closing the score gap very quickly, as Ming managed to take down quite a few of those plumed archers there. Now, of course, Ming with a castle again, making some more plumed archers of his own. No more upgrades at the moment at the blacksmith, none for Chris either. They're both missing the chemistry upgrade, and they're both missing the final upgrade on their archer armor as well. But for the time being, Ming just trying to take gold over here. Chris, does he know this gold pile's here? Of course he does. He knows that he's forced Ming off gold, and now he's going to go head him off. A great little attack from Chris here. Going to get right in there, kill loads of villagers, and Ming is going to lose a lot of his economy, and that is certainly not good at all. In comes some trebuchets. He's going to take out this town centre as well, and if Ming doesn't cancel that, he's going to lose quite a bit of wood and stone as well. Very messy from Ming, but very well played by Chris as well, totally anticipating that, getting in there, and now Chris does have the chemistry upgrade. In comes Ming. What's he going to do? They're on top of each other, and Ming has the numbers advantage. Chris going to get absolutely cut to bits here. Those skirmishers really going to aid Ming very well indeed, and if we have a look, there's Chris's army completely gone. Chris trying to attack those skirmishers with his trebs there, but he's going to want to take out this town centre. Nice! That means that Ming just lost 100 stone and 200 odd odd wood, and that is certainly not good. Of course, he's going to have to take out these trebs now, and that is quite a lot of resources lost for Chris as well. 200 gold, 200 wood for each, so Chris losing his trebs there, a little bit messy from him. In comes a mangonel though, could flatten quite a bit, actually not flattening anything thanks to their armor upgrades, but he will do very shortly. Nicely done, finally taking out the mangonel at quite a bit of loss, but Chris now looking a little bit messy. He's starting to fall back, and Ming playing this one absolutely brilliantly. I've got to say, very well played by him. A university of his own, and no chemistry just yet. No upgrades coming from the blacksmith just yet either. But for the time being, he's doing absolutely brilliantly considering his situation, and he's starting to push Chris back. Very nice read by Chris on this gold though. That was very well done indeed. But unfortunately for Ming, didn't cancel this town centre, I don't think, in time, which meant he lost the resources from that. And now Chris going to be sort of falling back a little bit. If Ming can get out a couple of trebs here and push forwards with his elite skirmishers, he could be in with a nice little chance. He's certainly going to be trying to regain map control. Still no relics taken though, and that is surprising to me. Neither of these guys taking relics, which is something that is not often seen in Arena. And now coming forwards, he can easily pick off these plumed archers with the skirmishers, but when it actually comes to attacking Chris's base, he's going to have a little bit more than skirmishers to do that. This is definitely not a doubt style, but plumed archers still not upgraded to elite yet for either of them, and Chris's economy now suffering slightly as he only has just got 2 TCs. He went up with the fast Imperial, but his economy suffered slightly from that, and now he's lost his army. He's going to be desperately trying to get his economy back on track. He really does need to make sure his economy isn't lacking at all. Nice there though, getting inside of Ming's base, really starting to keep the pressure on, picking off a few villagers. Unfortunately losing quite a lot of plumed archers there to the elite skirmishers, of course, and now Ming going to be starting to gain a little bit of an advantage as he has got the much superior economy with 3 town centres, still pumping out villagers from each, and I've got to say, it's looking quite good for him right now. Still needs to chase these plumed archers down though. They're still doing damage, and I'm surprised that Ming didn't chase them down sooner. Really starting to hurt from them, leaving them there. Easily killing off villagers with 1 or 2 shots, and Chris now getting right into the back of Ming's base, just being a little bit awkward, distracting him as you could expect, and going to be killing a few more villagers as well. So nicely done by Ming. Or Chris even, and Ming now starting to make some mangonels as well, and this is the difference, you see. This is when we compare the Viper to these guys. This style of play is so different. When we see the Viper play, we see rams coming in, we see mass plumed archers, and that is something that is kind of trademarked to him, I think. The rams are just so useful, but we're not seeing rams from either of these guys just yet, and we're seeing mangonels, and as I said in the last commentary when we had a Mayans War on Regicide Fortress, mangonels really aren't that great in the late game, because once you've got plumed archers with ballistics, they can micro out the way of the mangonel so easily and take the mangonel out before it does much damage at all. So it's really not so worth making these mangonels now, and they should probably consider moving to rams instead. That is what I've learned from the Viper anyway, watching his records, and that is what I continue to believe is a very good strategy. Chris coming in though now, he's just finding himself in a bit of a bad spot, and Ming a little bit of bad micro. As I said, if he was to micro these, he would save a few more units, but that mangonel only able to fire once. These guys of course now have thumb ring, which does mean that they manage to fire a lot faster, and they can take down the mangonels so quickly, and really losing 3 skirmishers to 1 mangonel, it's not a worthwhile trade at all. Mangonels cost too much to be thrown away. Chris now though, a ton of castles, 3 castles right there on his base, a 4th on the side right now as well, and starting to work on his economy a bit more also. But it's looking pretty interesting. Chris, he's kind of on the back foot, but he's still got the score lead. He's still managed to do quite a lot of damage to Ming's economy, especially down here with this raid that managed to kill off quite a lot of villagers. So he's definitely not out of the game, even though he's on the back foot, and Ming now needs to keep the pressure on. He can't just keep making skirmishes. He's going to need a little bit more than that if he wants to start pressuring, and there's a battering ram from him, starting to bring the rams in, and this could really change the tide of the battle for Ming, as he is going to have a nice little advantage with the rams. they are going to absorb a lot of arrow fire, and they could mean the difference between a win or a loss in the open field. Looks to me though like not Viper, why do I always say Viper? Chris is still in the lead with upgrades. Ming's starting to fall behind a little bit. He's missing chemistry, he's missing defensive upgrades as well. But as I said, with these rams now, going to be able to do a little bit more damage, and of course more trebuchets coming in, going to be trying to take out these castles, whilst Chris is trying to mass plumed archers. I think, well, he would be, but he's not. Don't really know why. He's building all these castles but not really putting them to much use, and I'm expecting more rams from Ming at some point as well. Maybe capped ram to be upgraded, but nope, more mangonels, and they're really not that useful because mangonels get cut down by castles as well, and they're a little bit of a nightmare. But I've got to say, Ming holding this center area, still no relics collected, which is still a surprise to me, but he's starting to get more castles out now. He's starting to make more plumed archers, and he's looking, I think, to try and outmass Chris at this stage. Starting to bring some villagers over to repair this trebuchet, and it should be just fine. 4 HP remain on that, and that was very close indeed. Ming, not enough resources to repair. I'm guessing that means he's going to lose his trebuchet pretty shortly. Repairing, of course, costs gold as well, because trebuchets do cost gold to make. Looks like he's going to lose. Oh, so close. Chris still coming out with more mangonels, and why, Chris? Make rams, for God's sake. But anyway, if you watch deathmatch as well, you'll see rams in use a lot in Hun Wars and such. They absorb so much fire. There's no reason not to make rams really in these kind of matchups. But here we go now. We should see the effect of the rams if they go in front. They will absorb a lot of the plumed archer fire unless Chris starts microing away. And the rams now coming in. He just needs to get them in front of his army. He should be fine. Chris trying as best he can to deal with these skirmishers here. The rams getting right in there, starting to absorb a little bit of the fire. Ideally, what Ming wants is for the plumed archers to aim at the rams, and Chris is having to micro this by telling his plumed archers to attack individually, because they will attack the rams automatically, as they'll attack what is closest first. Ram getting in there, starting to do damage to the trebuchet, just noticed, and now with chemistry for Ming as well. But he's really going to have a tough time attacking this with 2 castles defending. He can't let his units get too close, they'll be taken out by the castles pretty quickly. But not a bad engagement by Ming at all, catching up to Chris in the scores there for a split second. And there's the ram absorbing a lot of arrow fire, and really kind of a bad time to be sending that in. It's not going to get in, it's not going to reach the trebuchet, that's for sure. But this castle still under pressure, and Ming's still keeping his trebuchet alive. He's probably going to need another trebuchet though, and yeah, we're seeing that queued up right there. Starting to take the relics as well, I've just noticed. About time. He's going to need that because he's going to be short on gold pretty shortly. He hasn't scouted properly though. He doesn't know that there's a relic here. He doesn't know this gold is here, and that is unfortunate. I don't even think he's realised this gold is here. He must have done. Surely he's noticed that's there, but he's not moving to that just yet anyway, because he's still got quite a bit of gold left on his main pile, and he still has this small one here. But of course he's going to need to know where the gold is on the map. And now fully upgraded elite skirmishers with the final defensive upgrade, 8 pierce armor. And bear in mind that a plumed archer only has 9 attack. That means that a plumed archer has to hit a skirmisher 35 times before it can take it down, and that is worth the investment of the upgrades right there. And now Ming is in a nice little situation. He's got plenty of pierce armor on these guys. So has Chris though. I mean, they're pretty evenly upgraded. But Ming has the elite plumed archer upgrade, which is a huge difference if we have a look in the HP. They have extra range, which is always good, as we've seen from the micro perspective. And it's amazing as well because they have extra HP. They can absorb more arrow fire, and everybody's happy. But Ming starting to come in now with more trebuchets, and that's going to really hurt Chris. Chris is having to spend a lot of stone on repairing this castle, and in comes Ming, but oh no, get out of the way! Flattened by the mangonels, but then again, taking the mangonels out so quickly. If he lost 4 plumed archers there, Ming still came out better off, because you've got to consider a 4 plumed archers costs less than 2 mangonels, so that was a little trade worthwhile making. More trebuchets coming forwards. This castle going to go down, there is no doubt about that. And there it goes. Chris losing 1 castle, 2 to go, and Ming is going to be right inside of his base. More rams coming out as well. No capture ram for Ming just yet. Oh, there we go. Capture ram being researched. So Ming starting to get really aggressive, take back this middle area, and Chris now starting to fall back a little bit. He's still missing plumed archer. It's just on the way right now. The elite plumed archer upgrade is coming out, but it doesn't look like Chris is making rams at all. I'm not really sure why. Mangonels, they're costing him a lot. He's not making his mangonels worth the money, and especially now these guys are fully upgraded with plenty of range, they're going to be able to take out the mangonels so easily, and Ming is going to be absolutely fine to deal with them. However, Chris is going to have a hard time dealing with the capped rams. That's 200 hits it's going to take 1 down. Imagine if he has 4 of those. That's 800 times elite plumed archers are going to have to hit them before the rams go down, and that is enough to buy Ming enough time to really do a lot of damage. So here we go, sending the ram forwards now. It's absorbing most of the arrow fire, and Ming can go in after it, but Chris of course going to attack it with his mangonels. But there we go, the ram going in. He really could do with a couple more, and then sending these in straight away, killing the mangonel and avoiding most of the damage from that. Very nicely played by Ming, using his elite skirmishers a little bit aggressively as well, which is kind of nice to see. Taking out the trebuchets from Chris. Nice attack by Ming indeed. He's got the oh no, he's not. He just finished the elite plumed archer upgrade, so Ming's slightly disadvantaged here as he is going to be up against this castle. And oh no, he's not realised the mangonels on the right, but he's going to have to focus them down pretty quickly, otherwise he's going to lose too many units. But again, still making a profit out of killing these mangonels. The mangonels really not doing enough damage, and in come the capture rams now. They're going to absorb some of the arrow fire if Chris doesn't micro it, but at any rate the rams are going to take down these trebuchets, and Ming is going to start pushing forwards with more trebuchets of his own, starting to take out these castles of Chris. Now, to be honest with you, it's not looking so good for Chris right now. Going for the trebuchet, the treb's going to go down, and there we go, moving straight onto the castle. The plumed archers trying to focus down the rams, but in comes Ming with even more of his own. Chris's army really starting to fall now. Only 14 ranged units remain, and Ming is getting us further ahead with 50 ranged units and 5 siege. He is certainly getting a huge advantage on this map right now. Considering this is his home map, he probably planned this strategy all along, and he is now also benefiting from the relics, of course, 3 relics of which he has collected. The second castle goes down for Chris, another siege workshop and archery ranges of his own coming out. He is going to be looking to get some of those skirmishers out right now to get his defense on, but still not making any rams. He's upgraded to onager. Let's see if these can do any more damage. I don't think it's likely though. The onagers still going to be taken down by the plumes very quickly, and I like Ming's strategy of mixing in elite skirmishers and elite plumed archers, and even an archer in there, because hey, right now that archer is another number. I'm sure that was a misclick. But there we go, castle starting to go down. Ming going to move his trebuchets forward. He's got plenty of military units, and it's going to be quite some time before Chris can actually get enough military units out now to deal with this. He's looking to do big damage with his onagers, but Ming already knows that he's got lots of mangonels and such coming out. He's spotted the onager over here. Let's see if he can take it down before it does much damage. If he can take it down real quick, then he's going to be absolutely fine. Yep, that goes down really quick, and his trebuchet still stands. So nice from Ming, playing this one very well indeed. More onagers hanging around, but if you can avoid the arrow fire from them, and the fire from them, and take them down with his plumes really quick, it's going to be absolutely fine. It looks like we're going to see a GG from Chris very quickly here. Chris is really not got anything left at all. Ming continuing to push forwards. He's almost a population cap, I think. 175 pop right now, compared to Chris's 137, and Chris really starting to fall behind, 3 castles down, and there is really not a lot he can do to stop Ming from waltzing into his base right now. Real bad times for Chris. 67 ranged units on the field, and look at this. This is going to be absolutely slaughter here, and oh, big damage from the onager, and he, oh dear, Ming, you did not notice that. That damaged you massively. Needs to take out the onager very quickly, getting a lot of plumed archers flattened there, but just about hanging on. It looks like he's going to push Chris right back. Chris's only chance now is the onagers, but as I said, they're getting taken out so quickly, and it's costing Chris massively. He's really not making these onagers worthwhile, and in comes Ming with even more plumed archers. There is nothing that Chris has left. I don't think Chris has anything left. He's down to 9 ranged units, most of which are just skirmishers, and a couple of plumed archers. I cannot see how Chris is going to keep himself safe here. More siege workshops coming out. He's trying to make onagers left, right and centre, but it's not paying off for him at the moment. Looks like Ming is going to be able to push straight through. He's going to be pop capped in just a moment. If he continues production at any rate, he is going to be absolutely pop capped in just a sec. Oh dear, again the onager just getting a big hit, and if Ming is a little bit more careful with his army, he probably would be able to keep a lot more of his plumed archers safe, but he still has 45 ranged units, siege rams coming in as well. This castle likely to be lost very shortly, and I just can't see how Chris is going to come back from this. I've got to say, it's going to be GG from Ming in just a moment. I can't see how Chris is going to be able to defend. He's managing to add in a lot of elite skirmishers though, which is useful, but still they're not as effective as he perhaps would like, managing to kill a few plumed archers, but the plumed archers just going to hang on. Ming could do with some siege rams in there to absorb some of the arrow fire, but Ming with quite a big score lead at the moment, and I've got to say actually, Chris looks like he's holding on for the time being, but Ming now, his economy is huge, he's got control of the centre area. Surprised he's still not scouted this. He's missing a relic and gold down here. Very surprising that he's not seen that, but nevertheless, another big onager fire, and that was a huge one. That was very bad. Gonna be able to just take out this onager, I think, but oh dear, Ming losing quite a lot of plumed archers there, but now bringing in some elite eagle warriors. Very nicely played. I didn't notice these barracks in the middle, but Ming gonna start adding in those eagle warriors. As I said at the very start of the game, it's easy to take out skirmishers with eagle warriors with 8 pierce armor. These guys just do 1 damage apiece, and they are gonna get absolutely shredded to bits by the eagle warriors. The problem is now Chris can't make any more. Oh, he can. Wow. He can make more plumed archers. He's got loads of gold and wood, but he's only got 1 castle, so he can only make them at such a slow rate. It's not really going to pay off. And Ming going to come forwards now with the elite eagle warriors. And now Chris's problem is that he can't spend his resources. He lost his castles, and that has ended up costing him massively. He can't make any more plumed archers. Well, he can, but at a very slow rate. And now the eagle warriors starting to clear things up very quickly indeed. Ming are likely to be upgrading these guys pretty shortly as well. And I've got to say, it looks like Ming is just going to steamroll through here. I can't see how Chris is going to be able to defend against this. A very nice little strategy from Ming there, switching to eagle warriors once Chris only started making skirmishers. Very nicely done indeed. And if Chris loses this castle, I don't know how he's going to defend, because the castle is just, it's not going to be able to make any more skirmishers whatsoever. And we've already seen how quickly the skirmishers are getting cut down by the eagle warriors here. It looks like it's going to be GG any second now. Just waiting for Chris to give it on up, because I don't see how he's going to defend against this. The eagle warrior is right inside of his base, and he's going to lose a massive amount of economy very shortly. Holding on. In come the siege rams, taking out the town centres really quick. He might even delay this castle or deny this castle, which would be huge if he does that. Just getting the castle up in time. Chris really struggling now. Ming could easily run in here and kill all of his wood collectors. He's right inside of his base, but Chris not wanting to give up just yet, though I've got to say it's really not looking promising at all. And perhaps he should have resigned by now. These siege rams coming in, going to be taking out his castles very quickly indeed. And there we go, the resignation from Chris. Very well played by Ming. Obviously this is his home map. He chose this map himself, and he is probably going to be pretty happy that he won on it. So making it 1-0 at the moment. We do have another game to be played, Chris's home map of course, and we'll see how that one goes in just a minute. But for now, let's just have a quick look at how this game did really turn out. It was very back and forwards to say the least. Ming with a nice little castle drop here, breaking through Chris's walls, but unable to break through any further. Chris with the fast Imperial on the 1 town centre, managing to push Ming right back to his base. Then Ming adding in the skirmishes, very well defended indeed, immediately realised what was happening, upgraded to Imperial, and then managed to push back right back to Chris's base. So very well played by Ming indeed. That makes it 1-0, and stay tuned because I'll be bringing you game 2 very, very shortly.